Well, after literally a couple of years of working on this deer pen, we're finally ready to start stretching fence. The first section that we're going to stretch fence over is the fence line closest to the house. So each one of these rolls of deer fencing weighs somewhere between 300 and 400 pounds. They're incredibly heavy and awkward to move around, and oftentimes the hardest part is simply getting the fencing stood up where it can be attached to the poles. But I learned a lot working on that lower deer pen, and I found places where I can improve. But the truth is, this section of fence down here closest to the house is the flattest and the straightest, and frankly, it's going to be the easiest of all the fences to do. Now all of this fencing has to be installed on the inside of the deer pen for obvious reasons, and where every gate terminates to a post, the fencing has to have a full wrap around that same post. The biggest change I've made so far this year is getting a Milwaukee fencing stapler. So this is the point closest to the house, and I'm going to have a set of gates right here and a little pin where I can feed and water the deer as needed. But one of my favorite parts is the fact that I can look out my master bedroom window, and likely the deer will be right here. this is the new Mountainside trail that goes up the side of the mountain, giving me access to the top and bottom of the deer pen, and this is where I'm going to start setting posts and stretching fence next. And this is the new trail across the very top of the fence line. So this deer pen is going to have to withstand snow, wind, trees potentially falling on it, predators potentially trying to get under it or get through it, and probably a lot of other things that I'm not thinking about right now. And it only made sense to me to have a trail around the entire pen where I can ride a four-wheeler and maintain the deer pen as needed. I have figured out that by putting a deck screw in at an angle every other post, I can hang the fencing off that deck screw and adjust it as I'm stretching it, and then remove the deck screw at the end when I'm finished. Again, sometimes getting the fencing rolled out and stood up is one of the hardest jobs. Whenever two rolls of fencing come together, I stitch it together a pretty particular way so I know I'm not going to have any problems with it. I try to make sure that anything sharp that can't be removed, like the end of a wire, is simply pointing to the outside if nothing else. I'll come back with my angle grinder and cut the excess off if I need to when I'm finished. I use a couple of 2x4s screwed together with deck screws as an anchor point to stretch the fence from. It's a constant process of slowly adjusting the fence, making sure it's not hanging up on anything as I tighten it, and then again using the Milwaukee fencing stapler. It only takes a few minutes to get everything nailed off. Well, this is by far the biggest pen of any kind that I've built in my life, and I can see there's always room for improvement as I learn along the way. Fencing work is always hard on the elbows and the wrists and the hands, but this stuff has to be done. And I'm telling you, getting that Milwaukee M18 fencing stapler has been a complete game changer. Okay, so now I'm going to go along and cut the tops off of the posts and make it all even with the fence. There's a couple little spots I'm going to tighten up as I go along, but we're basically ready to build gates. I got to build a set of gates here. I'm going to have to build a set of gates down there. I'm going to have to build a set of gates up there. But until I get the rest of the fence line in, I'm not sure how wide these gates are going to be. So the next step is we're going to start setting posts up the side of the mountain. As much as we need rain right now, the truth is it's a lot easier to work in the dust than it is in the mud. I'm cleaning up all of the brush that had to be removed when the trail was originally cut in. The way that I choose to clean this brush up, it's just a dusty, dirty process, and it's almost unavoidable this time of year because it's been so long since we've had any measurable rain. Well, Pat is a little weasel. One of the cats earned their keep, and every once in a while, not very often because those things are tougher than nails. Now that little weasel will turn from brown to white with the snow, and I believe they're called ermine once they turn white, but they're ferocious little killers. Our cats are mousers and they do their job outside. Every once in a while they get a weasel like that, which is probably a good thing. A little weasel that size right there has killed our chickens before, so. Stay. Stay, Willie. So I spent a few hours yesterday after I finished the fence. I spent a few hours yesterday trying to bring everything together to where when it comes time to burn, it's all in one place. Now I won't be able to burn this until at least October. But the truth is, this is going to be a big enough of a brush pile that I'll probably wait until there's some moisture on the ground. And the fence is going to be close enough to this brush pile now that if I let it get out of control, it'll probably burn the fence post. So I'm going to keep pushing this into a pile. I've gone up and down the trail getting all of the, there's still some, you can see there's still some brush up there I need to get. But what I'm trying to do is go down along the trail, and anything that I took out in the process of building the trail, I want to now bring it up here to burn it. So as soon as I get this all consolidated, the last thing I need to do is drive the excavator down that far side and just see what I'm working with over there. I haven't gone completely down that side in probably a few years at least. So that side is way steeper than this side, and so I'm afraid that's going to be the hardest part of this whole thing to fence. Here we go. So again, this is the very top corner of the deer pen, and this is basically my last chance to clean up any of the brush and the trees that I want to, and make it into one big pile to burn before I start setting posts and stretching fence. And if all goes well, by the end of next week, that's what I'll be doing. It can be a little bit warm in the cab of the excavator on a 95-degree day, but we're just about done piling up the brush. Okay, top of the deer pen, brush pile we're gonna burn in a few months. This is the cutover trail to get over to the other side. You can see how thick it gets down through there, but this is where the final fence line is going to be. So I need to take a couple of trees out and get things lined up a little bit better. We can start setting posts. This is the steepest part of the deer pen right here though. Last time I brought the excavator up through here, I didn't take out any more trees than I had to. And I can see that in order to keep this fence line straight, there's still a few more trees I'm going to have to pull out of the ground along the way. But even though this fence line is steep, it's nowhere near as long as the other side, so it should go fast. From us here at Red Poppy Ranch, we wanted to say thank you for taking time to see what we're doing. On next week's video, we're going to continue the process of stretching these fence lines and doing everything we can to get the deer pen finished in a timely manner. Thank you again. See you soon.